Let's have a butchers and see wagwan. Today we are looking at a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment that is a leasehold for 70 grand, which is a cash only purchase. We are like 5 minutes outside the city centre, so it's only a 5 minutes walk to the city centre. And from Leeds city centre, you can get one straight bus to most areas in Leeds, and you can get one bus to surrounding cities and towns like Bradford, Batley, Huddersfield, Wakefield. The train station is probably only like a 20-minute walk up the road. Right, so we are coming up to the entrance. It's quite tucked away, actually. It's nice and, it's like a little secret tucked away behind the petrol station. It's nice. There is no parking with this property, but sometimes when parking comes with the unit, there is also an additional charge. This is the entrance to the building, and it does have a lift, so we are going to expect service charges that are at least over £1,000. So we're in the property. We're going straight into the kitchen, dining, living room space. So, as we can see, this is a repossession. Carpets are a bit mucky. Some people would replace. Some people would deep clean. The small balcony is the only outside space in the property, and there is no storage whatsoever. So, first time buyers, If you are a homebody, low-budget person that lacks your freeness and your bargains, this is great because it's just walking distance from Leeds. Bing, bang, bong, not much effort. If you are a person you like outside and you like lots of activities and to be going out in Leeds city centre, just remember the ground rent and the service charge takes up some of your disposable income. Landlords, if you're thinking about an Airbnb, I haven't read the lease, so I don't know if it's allowed or forbidden. You might be thinking, okay, can get 4 people, 2 people in the bedroom, 2 people on a sofa bed in the living room. However, I personally do not think 4 people is realistic. If you want a dining table, a coffee table, it's a really, really tight space. So for me personally, I think it would just be best to leave it at 2 people. So let's have a little cheeky nose around and see what we can get for 2 people a night Airbnb. With it being a repossession, you can make a little cheeky offer. There's only 3 things that are going to happen. Number 1, the estate agent's going to call security and have you escorted out the building because you've lost your mind. 2, thinking, okay, let's start going back and forwards. If you say you're going to offer maybe 60,000, 55, and they might say, okay, we want something a little bit closer to the asking price, and you go back and forth. Or number 3, they'll just say, yes, listen, if you're ready, let's go. We'll accept your offer. If they accept your cheeky offer, pull up, correct and ready. Have your agreement in principle, your solicitors instructed, and proof of funds. Now, before we do the Jim Jam test, you might be asking, hold on a minute, why is it a cash-only purchase? Well, go on for that. One word, Glenfield. The property is not EWS1 compliant. So let's remind ourselves why cladding is in the forefront in the first place.
June 14th, 2017, at approximately 12:05 a.m., a refrigerator in an apartment on the 4th floor of the Grenfell Tower in North Kensington, London, failed and started on fire. The individual who lived in the apartment quickly contacted 999 to let the London Fire Brigade know of the fire, and then knocked on apartments around his to let people know there was a fire and they needed to evacuate. The London Fire Brigade was able to quickly show up to the building and make entry towards the apartment. There was a problem though. The Grenfell Tower had been refurbished in the years prior to the fire. It was originally a solid concrete building, and then on the exterior they had added this cladding to give it a more modern look and also to help with insulation problems on the interior of the building. The problem with this cladding was that it was flammable. So when the fire department made entry into the 4th floor to attempt to put the fire out in the actual kitchen, the fire had already spread up to the side of the building and was traveling up the side of the building. You see, the problem was when they installed this cladding, they had put insulation on the old concrete exterior, and then there was a gap, and then there was the cladding itself. You can kind of see it right here. There is a gap all the way up to the top. Now, when the fire started, it started in a refrigerator that was sitting next to the window. When they did the refurbishment of the building, they moved the exterior windows out several inches and then filled that gap with a PVC type material. As the fire started burning, that PVC type material failed and allowed the fire to get in the gap between the cladding and the insulation. Once the fire reached the exterior of the building, there was nothing that firefighters could do to prevent this fire from spreading even further. But there was an even bigger problem because Grenfell Tower was a concrete building, which means that anyone on other floors besides the fire floor affected and the one above it were told to shelter in place anytime they called 999 because that is proper procedure in high rises. So it wasn't until later, after the building had been fully engulfed in flames, that people that called 999 from inside the building were told to evacuate. But then there was another problem. The only stairwell in the building quickly filled with smoke, trapping people upstairs. In the end, the building would burn for approximately 60 hours off and on until all hotspots were extinguished. 72 individuals would die in this fire, with 223 injured. This particular fire would lead to evaluations of fire response, fire safety protocols, building protocols, and a whole lot more, and is still ongoing to this day.
This property is the absolute Wild West. There is no information on where things are with the EWS1 form. Nothing. The agents ain't got a Scooby, the lenders ain't got a Scooby. They could still be getting quotes, or the quotes could have come in at 80 grand, and 80 grand, you know, is going to be shared between all the leaseholders. This is a madness. It is not a good idea to even think about putting an offer in on this property until you have spoken with the management company and are satisfied in terms of what's going on. Because do you know what? If you was to ever resell this property and things have not been sorted out, you are going to be in exactly the same position, square one, where your market is limited to those who have got 70 grand in the back of the sofa. Most people purchase property with a mortgage, so your market is very limited, very, very limited if you can only sell to those who have got cash. Let's do the Jim Jam test. Is the local shop close enough for us to pop in our Jim Jams on a Sunday morning? First time buyers. Unless your mum and dad lives upstairs and your brother and sister lives downstairs, if you have no specific reason to be in this development, you might just want to give this a miss. You might just be like, do you know what, yeah, let me keep it moving. There are better properties out there to get you on the property ladder with less hassle. Landlords, if you're going down the AST route, you do not want the service charge to exceed your rental income. That don't make no sense. The lease on this property is 125 years from 2006, which means there's 107 years left remaining. The ground rent is £150 per annum. The service charge is £1,266.23. Oui. So the ground rent and service charge on a monthly basis you'll be paying is £118.01. Let's see what the market is for the rentals. The local housing allowance for Leeds for a one-bed housing benefit is £673.14 per coming month. So unfortunately, this property is not open to a benefit tenant. Right. Lots of development work going on. So I think we're coming up to a shop, hopefully. Not quite sure why it's not open. If the development was EWS1 compliant, let's have a look how much we could be looking in the region of for comparable properties. And we have got our supermarket. So it's not been very long to walk. So would you pop there on a Sunday morning in your Jim Jams? We've also got a general store, which is lovely. We've got the 2020 development. And at the top of the road, you've got St. James's Hospital, which is roughly about a 10-minute walk. So let's ask the question. Would you buy to live, buy to let, or does Leeds need more investment before you even think about it? Let's have a look at the sales history for the property and what the property sold for.